and whenever we discuss on the potential questions to UPSC Prelims 2020, one important area cannot ever be neglected, or perhaps this can be considered as the most crucial area whenever any UPSC exam is taken into consideration. Many of you may be thinking, what would be this area? Because I already covered my discussion with regard to modern Indian history, with regard to science and technology, with regard to environment and ecology, which are the most important three areas, plus polity, which is a core area. Once these areas are over, certainly my focus of attention would be on current affair questions. We know very well that current affair is certainly not a different area, but it is something that has to go along with the already mentioned areas and those areas which are supposed to be dealt with, like maybe governance issues, policies, then again the recent court orders, etc., etc., etc. It goes on. Maybe culture questions which we discussed previously, etc. Even culture related or history related current affairs would be there. Why current affairs has become so important? If we go for a closer analysis of UPSC examination, certainly over a period of time, current affair questions has been increasing with regard to their importance, and the emphasis that is being laid on current affairs has been doubling over a period of time. I went through, just before my session today, I went through UPSC question paper of 2011, and surprisingly, maybe out of 100 questions, we know very well that from 2011 CSAT was introduced, that is why I mentioned the year 2011. Maybe 100 questions were there. Out of those 100 questions, hardly 21 or 22 questions had some connection with those news items that appeared maybe 10 months before the examination. Certainly not more than that. And then I immediately handpicked another question paper, and that was the 2017 question paper, which is considered to be a watershed year because the number of current affair questions, especially polity related current affair questions, is increased like anything. And when I went through that question paper, surprisingly that number went up to 34. That means out of those 100 questions, 1/3 of the total questions placed by UPSC belonged to the current affair arena. I repeat, out of those total questions, 1/3 of the set number of questions positioned by UPSC belonged to the current affair arena. Naturally, this shows how much significant would be the current affair area and how we should prepare for current affair UPSC prelims 2020, and from which all areas you can expect maximum number of questions. These are the three things I am going to discuss today, and I will begin from the third area, the area wise analysis, since many of my subscribers send me messages regarding they need an area wise current affair analysis. Primarily, as I discussed in one of my previous sessions just posted day before yesterday, science and tech related current affair questions can be the largest out of this 33. That means 1/3. And when we assessed the 2019 question paper, the number of current affair questions were roughly around 27. Number of questions from the current affair area were roughly around 27. Naturally, it is just 5 questions less than 1/3. So obviously, you know very well that how the importance of current affair areas are increasing like anything. And when I assessed 2017, 2019, 2016 papers, I realized one important thing, that many of the questions had a tagline, recently in news, which means UPSC itself is accrediting, UPSC itself is claiming that those questions are handpicked from news items that came maybe 4 months before, maybe 5 months before, or hardly 6 months before, and certainly nothing more than that, which we can call into the category of recent, maximum a period of 6 months. That itself is not recent till UPSC consider it to be something that is recent. So with regard to current affair area, largest number of questions you can expect related to science and technology, because that is the most coveted area from where a number of science and tech current affair questions can be asked, belonging to the areas that I already mentioned, primarily biotechnology, then again medical research and medical technology, diseases or illness and wellness related areas, vaccines, new findings or innovative findings, especially those by Indians, which were all recently in news. Then again agricultural technology and agricultural research precisely, then medicine precisely, and other related areas. So definitely the Hindu science and tech page, or the Hindu pages that discuss areas related to science and tech, becomes very important. Second only to science and technology, another important current affair area is environment and ecology. we can expect a number of questions related to environment and ecology, especially due to the combining of Indian Forest Service exam with UPSC Civil Service prelims. Obviously, the larger number of questions can be handed down or taken or drawn from the environment and ecology domain. So do expect a lot of questions maybe related to biodiversity hotspots, maybe a national park or we can say precisely a hotspot or a biodiversity rich area that was recently in news, or that biodiversity hotspot which is protected, which is considered to be a protected site, or even a reserved area, maybe reserved for tiger or maybe reserved for lion or rhino or whatever animals that are protected in India. Whichever of these items that comes recently in news, they are also very important, because UPSC has a habit that may be related to the Shimla park, or that may be related to the Fundi, the question that was asked in 2016, that is Fundi, that is water formation, which is found in which state and with related in relation with which national park. Again, that is an important current affair question. So expect a number of ecology related current affair question, which is definitely very important. Fourth, or we can say the third important area would be definitely polity. I already discussed how to handle polity related current affair. Mere politics can be ignored definitely, but those areas or aspects that discuss anything related to the constitution or related to the parliament, especially the statutory establishment of bodies, like maybe the NGT, the National Green Tribunal, which is a good example, which is also there as the UPSC question. Expect questions from those areas which has a constitutional basis, which has a statutory basis, or which definitely has any connection with any aspect that is in news recently, which is of considerable significance. They may be like Lokpal, maybe like Lokayukta. Whatever news items are connected with these areas, they definitely are important. Like Article 31C, that gives immunity to a directive that is brought in the form of a law from Article 14 and 15, which belongs to direct fundamental rights, that is guaranteed to a citizen of the country. All those similar things comes into the picture. So which may be connected with fundamental rights, DPSP, fundamental duties, or whatever. All these are related to a Supreme Court or High Court judgment, or related to a statement issued by the Chief Justice of the Honorable Supreme Court of India. All these becomes very important, and definitely they are potential areas from where, not that thing that may be taken for a polity question, but those areas become very important. And that is how you can actually eliminate irrelevant areas for polity with regard or in connection with a current affair domain. Finally, once polity is over, culture becomes a fourth important area. Culture is connected with history, but I am not saying that history would come in current affair. Wherever a historical emphasis is given, that may be a culture question. That may be like Rani Ki Vav that was asked 4 years back, or that may be like a question related to Mohenjo-daro, or a question related to a particular archaeological site that was excavated recently, or maybe a type of dress, a textile that is being used, or a form or a pattern of textile design that is prevalent in any part of India, maybe in Odisha, maybe in Haryanvi, or maybe in Bihar, or maybe in Andhra, or certainly maybe in West Bengal, or even in Madhya Pradesh, that was in news recently, can be handpicked. Of course, it is not, may not be from an area, but maybe directly taken from that particular domain, and it can be posed as a question. So that is how culture becomes an important area, and culture definitely has a historical basis. I repeat, culture becomes an area, and culture definitely has a historical basis. Once culture part is over, again, I have discussed the prominent areas. Once culture part is over, geography is another important current affair area from where you can expect a number of questions. Maybe those things that is connected with climate or weather, which was recently in news, or maybe any relief systems that was recently in news. We know very well that the importance of geography is coming down year by year in UPSC examination, but geography related current affair questions can be definitely expected by a candidate. So definitely a candidate should be prepared, a candidate should be ready to handle with such a question, provided he is in a position to deal with it in a safe and secure manner. So definitely a candidate can expect questions related to geography, again, maybe related to a river probably, or related to river shifting, or maybe related to a relief system, or maybe related to the continental or any other climatic systems that is prevailing in India, or maybe related to the monsoon, that is a seasonal reversal of winds that happen in the country, or X or Y, whatever. So that area also has to be precisely dealt with. Once all these areas, I began exactly from area number 1, that is science and technology. That is how the importance goes. Then area number 2, environment and ecology. Area number 3, definitely the culture domain. Then again, area number 4, the polity domain. Area number 5, definitely the geography domain. And that is how the importance goes on. So this is where the candidate should be all the more careful. Candidate should definitely have an understanding of, imagine he's reading a news item related to science and tech. Okay, whatever is the news item, there is a background for that news item. There is an area. You can go back to my previous session where I discussed about the science and tech area. It may belong to biotechnology, it may belong to agricultural research, and it may be belonging to nuclear technology. Whatever it is, you need to identify the area, you need to identify the concept, you need to identify the principle that is operating behind it, etc. And the candidate should preferably note it down because it's a current affair area and there are certain chances that that particular area can be expected for the examination. This is where the candidate should use his prudence whenever he deal with UPSC examination. Not only for UPSC but even for KS prelims examination and for KS mains examination too, since KS mains question paper is supposed to be the first one in the form of a KS question paper. Nobody has any previous question paper with them. I strongly doubt that even in KS examination, recent current affair areas, especially those related to the state also, in all these domains can be expected as a question. This is where the candidate need to have a proper assessment of current affair and he should divide them. It is good that you dedicate a book for each of these areas, whichever I mentioned right now, and you can handpick. You can cut down newspaper items, you can put in that book, you can write down certain areas, you can store in that book, and even you can leave some space for further discussion and new developments related to that area to be kept in, so that your process is completed and it is almost comprehensive. We'll again meet up with our discussion on current affairs later. Thank you.